welcome back to another episode of Influenced by Kim. I'm your host, Hoofy Kim Cohen, and I hope everyone's doing well. Today I want to do something that is kind of different. I always like to spice things up. I like to be different and creative and just do different things. So I have a 6 months mentorship membership program called Energetic Codes. It was live last year, and then we took a break, but we showed up every single Thursday. And the way that this works is inside of Energetic Codes, you guys ask me the questions and I riff on them. So you guys ask me questions, anything, but we are more so inside of Energetic Code. We talk about money and being a boss babe, but also manifestation, spirituality, and mindset, and shadow work, and the things that stop us from tapping into our full potential, and the things that, sometimes we're just stuck in life, or we have these shadows that we don't see, why we're not successful or why we're not where we're at. It can be in relationships, it can be in friendships, it can be, love, friendships, relationship, it can be in a business that you're starting or you want to start, or something that has to do with making your dreams come true, or just literally, you guys, any topic. But the way that it works is you guys ask me specific questions, and then every Thursday I riff on them, aka I give you guys personal mentorship and guidance in a group settings. And it's a 6 months program, and it's actually so transformative. So there was so much transformation and crazy manifestation that happened last round where I did this. People were manifesting how in The Secret they tell you you could manifest a check coming in the mail. I don't know about you, but when I watched that, I was always like, that doesn't happen to anybody. They wouldn't have, not to nobody, but it just would not happen to me. Well, my girls inside of Energetic Codes literally manifested checks coming in the mail that they didn't even know were coming in the mail. People quit the jobs that they were stuck in for so many years that were enslaving them, and ventured off and started their brand new business because of the energy inside of Energetic Codes. People started making so much money, manifesting money. People found love. There were so many transformative stories and success stories that happened inside of Energetic Codes the first round, and it just kept getting better and better. And there is definitely a collective energy inside of Energetic Codes where you get to meet. There was actually, I feel like there was a boy or two boys in the first round, so this is for boys and girls, but normally we have a lot of girls in there, and they start to become friends, and we just kind of vibe off of the collective energy inside. And a lot of times sometimes people wouldn't know what should I ask this week, I'm not sure what to ask, but then they listen to the other riff requests that were there, and I riffed on them, and they're like, oh my god, I actually didn't even know that I needed to hear this. Oh my god, this is actually something that I'm going through and I didn't even realize it. And they would just be transformed because of the other questions that were asked by other people. It was really freaking cool. And I answer these questions, only I answer them, nobody else, because I'm the mentor and the coach inside of this program. And I answer them on voice notes over on Voxer. And so anyways, really exciting. I love this space. It is my favorite space. It is definitely a space where every single Thursday, it holds you accountable to be mindful and spiritual, and sometimes, life gets busy, life gets hectic, crazy things happen. We sometimes are more spiritual than we're not. Sometimes we're so tapped into the spiritual field, and then sometimes we're just so 3D, and we are just so caught up with life and just what life's been throwing at us that we're just kind of tapped out of the spiritual realm. We don't have time. We think we don't have time. But Energetic Codes holds you accountable to always show up every Thursday, to have the time to make the space. And it actually is so fun, and it gives you something to look forward to every single Thursday. It's the best. There are testimonials and things over on the website. I will link the website for Energetic Codes down below in the show notes, but I also need to update it because there was so much transformation that happened that my team stopped updating the actual website, but there's still really good testimonials inside of there. So the exciting thing is I'm getting ready to relaunch an energetic codes, and I'm super, super duper excited about it. I'm getting ready to launch it end of January. So, you can sign up now, you can wait. I wouldn't wait because I normally end up capping it at some number because I don't like it to get like too big. I like it to be like a personalized space, a personalized and special catered space with a collective specific energy. So I don't let it get like to wild numbers. But if you are looking for some inspiration, some spark, some fun, some mentorship, some like serious talks, those meaningful deep talks, you guys can hear me on this podcast always and forever, giving you guys the free information and all the things. But if you actually want to step inside of my world and like have me be your mentor and ask me questions and get my personalized mentorship, this is the place to do it. I'm going to leave the link at the bottom, but here's the thing. What I wanted to do today was do something really fun. There were so many amazing, powerful questions that were requested of me inside of this mentorship program. And for the next, I don't know how long, I'm just going to like drop some of these riffs that I mentored people on, some of these questions and riffs that came up inside of energetic codes. And so today I'm really excited to do this. I'm going to give you guys kind of like an inside feel as to what energetic codes feels like. And at the end of it, if you want to join us, you can join us right away. So I am going to share this part. This is going to be straight out of energetic codes, riffs, recordings. And I always feel like for those of you who have ever seen me advertise energetic codes, it's one of those things that you just like kind of trust and you go with. It is something that's kind of hard to explain. So rather than just like full blown explaining to you what energetic codes feels like or the type of conversations that we have inside of it, I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to let you hear. Okay. So today's question is something that I've gotten asked so many times in my life, and I actually love answering this question in this riff, which is, what energetically do you feel when something is no longer for you, like a relationship or a business idea? What blockages show up that make you feel like you've outgrown that business career or that person or that relationship? So without further ado, let's get started. Here's a snippet inside of energetic codes. Okay, riff request number 1. Riff day, yay. What energetically do you feel when something is no longer for you, like a relationship or a business idea? What blockage shows up that makes you feel like you've outlived that career or that business / vendor or that relationship? Okay, I love this one. This one like got me really excited because I have so much to say about this. Okay, we're strictly talking energetically. So I want to explain this. There's a very thin line that sometimes is misinterpreted, misunderstood, and I'm going to talk about that because a lot of people don't get this, and it's deep, and it's deep, and it's also like a microfinable difference, like a magnifying glass, but like a tiny bit difference. It feels almost the same, but it is yet very different. And I talk about this a lot. The difference is that one comes from faith and trust, and one comes from worry, insecurity, doubt, and fear. That is the difference between the two. Okay. There are things that you've outgrown, relationships, friendships, jobs, and things. And it's a very subtle inner knowing. And when I say inner knowing, it's like an intuitive knowing. It is not lackey. It is whole. It is abundant. It is like this inner knowing that's with neutral energy, but also like positivity. It's the difference between seeing things from the soul versus the ego. So having that inner knowing comes from like the soul part of you, of like the essence of who you are. I love energetic codes. I just have to say, I love these freaking conversations. So it's an inner knowing, and it's very subtle. It's not resentful. It's not cocky. It's just none of those vibrations. It's a very soul-based inner knowing that's very calm, like I said. Okay. And it's kind of like, I think that like I've just evolved into a different person and I've outgrown this friendship. I've outgrown this job. Like, I actually want to venture off and do, you know, I don't know, start this type of a business, right? Or I actually feel like I've grown so much and this person just refuses to grow, like, even though I've helped them, right? And, or I just feel like we just don't have that connection like we once did before. So it's kind of like this inner wonder, inner knowing. Like, it's not, oh my God, I fucking hate this job. Fuck these people. Fuck this motherfucker. I hate him. Hate this friendship. Hate this relationship. Can't stand this motherfucker. Like, let's fucking bounce. That is ego base. That is not soul base. That is your ego trying to protect you. That is resistance and blockage. And that's the other vibration. Now, sometimes these vibrations, they're almost linear to each other. They feel almost identical because sometimes you have two things happening at the same time. But you have to really get clear with yourself on where does the emotions and the energy really truly deep down inside of you lies? Is it lying in fear and worry and insecurity and self-sabotage and ego base and all the things? Or is it from a really selfless, pure soul base, inner knowing, faith and trust kind of a place, right? And then, so I talked about, right? So we get the kind of the difference. Now I'm going to talk more about like the blockage. So here's another thing. Sometimes we create resistance over something, and we create it realistically and really from insecurities, from inner worry, from fear of judgment, fear of how people would think about us. What are they going to think about us? Fear of this, fear of this, fear of that. It's like fear based, right? So sometimes we try to do a job or we try to work out a relationship and it doesn't work out. And the thing about it though is that something inside of us switched or changed. So like maybe in the beginning was aligned and then something within us switched or changed. And then we just kind of build a block, like building a block, which like equals resistance. And so we have resistance. And anytime we think about this one thing, this one job, or this one relationship, this one friendship, we always have this fucking block. It's like, eh, it's like resistance. And resistance, you physically feel in your body. It gives you FOMO. It gives you anxiety. It makes you like, be like, yeah, no, but not now. But not now. It's kind of like sending somebody a message, but then like no, waiting for them to reply, but then not wanting to open the reply, but like not. It's like this very unsettled energy. It's the opposite of being in harmony with oneself. Like you want this, but you don't. But you want this, but you don't. It's this like ongoing like tag and pull kind of a vibration of like I want it, but like but not like this, but only like this. But I want it, but that resistance. Not healthy. Now, within that, you have an opportunity to actually hone in on that, zoom in on that, and be like, what is happening? Is this me or is this like outside of me? Like, am I creating this resistance? And if I am creating this resistance, which you probably normally are, why am I creating this resistance? Is this logical or is this like me just operating from fear because I want something, but I'm scared, but I want this, but it's gonna bring me this, so I don't want this, so I don't want that. That kind of sort of makes sense. So if that is the case, you have to look into that. Like, what is the fear? What is the blockage? Like, why is there blockage? Where is the resistance? And is it actually real? Right? Like sometimes I want to do this, but I'm scared that people will judge me like this. And it's like, is that real though? Are they really going to judge you, or just making that up in your head? Because in reality, people are so caught up into their world and their lives that 90% of the time they actually don't care, and you think that they do, but in reality they don't. And you're just creating like interference for yourself and your path to success, right? So sometimes people, I guess like different people operate differently. Everyone has their own methods and stuff. If somebody tells me, if I want to do something, but somebody tells me I can't do it or I'm not good at it or whatever,
I actually use that as a force for to be reckoned with, right? Like I use that as a force for success. Like, oh, so dumb. Like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna fucking kick ass. And then what are they gonna say afterwards? Like it entertains me to prove them wrong, right? So it's like, it's almost like when my parents don't believe that I can do something, that gives me like hardcore force to do it. Um, their judgment, like their negative judgment, actually creates a positive impact into my life. Um, you know, but sometimes people are so I'm a very like, what do I want to call it? I'm very different than most people in the situation. Most people, if they get a little bit of judgment or they think that someone's judging them, they will stop. I use that to create more momentum and success in my path. So in essence, it is like this thing actually like, are you thinking of leaving this relationship with this job, with this career or whatever? Because you're scared of what other people will think, or you're operating from fear and ego base or self-doubt and creating resistance when it's not really necessary, when you should really like analyze like where it's actually coming from. Or do you genuinely believe that it is time from a very neutral soul-based place, like it is time to move on? I've outgrown this job, this person, this situation. And that's the question. The difference is like, one, again, is neutral. It's not operating from survival mode or dysregulating your nervous system. Sometimes also we have to like, if we try to do something that we have resistance, and we try to, we have resistance, and we try resistance. We have to sometimes take a step back. If we tried in different ways and it's not working and it's not working and it's not working, sometimes we do have to take a step back, because maybe energetically it's just not aligned currently. And no matter how much we try, we're actually creating lots of force and resistance, which is pushing each other, which is creating no movement at all. One is pushing one direction, the other is pushing the other direction, and no real movement is actually being created. So in those situations, I strongly believe that it's good to like take a breather, take a step back, not necessarily distract yourself with something else, but not I don't believe in distractions. Like distractions is okay. Like you can maybe I believe in shifting your energy, right? So if you're trying to do something that's not working out, maybe shifting your energy into something else for the time being, but also going back and visiting the other thing once you are ready. You let it exist and live outside of you for a long period of time, it's gonna hunt you. It's gonna hunt you down. So this is not the same, but it is. Like sometimes I've had different spiritual awakenings, and through them, I would get to points where it would like feel scary. I tapped into too many things. That's kind of really overwhelming. I don't know what to do with this overwhelming feeling. I want to, but I can't. Like I have this, I want to, but I can't, but I want to, but I can't. It's too much. It's freaking me out. It's like, whatever. So it's like, it's my soul journey and my soul path to get to a certain spiritual level, for example, right? But I've had like 3 times in my life where, for example, I know it's not the same, but my powers like really overwhelmed me. And I'm like, I can't. I need a break. Like this is too much. Like this needs to stop. What's the word? I would navigate my energy to something else. I not like, just to pull myself out of that field of that like vicious cycleness. But then I would always revisit it. And I always felt like later on in life, couple of years, so it's like the universe has like things that they want you to learn, and stuff like that, like things that you have to achieve in this lifetime, things that your soul has to go through. Um, and it's like, okay, you can take a break on this, but you're gonna have to come back to this. So that's sometimes something that happens, right? And so I've taken breaks from like spiritual stuff. Um, and then I would come back, and then it's like, okay, now I'm ready. Like the universe knows, like, okay, that was maybe too much for her. Like maybe she couldn't handle this. And it's like, okay, um, now let's like come back. Why is like a wiser, more intelligent person And it's like in that time period, I went and I worked on those things that kind of created lack in that category. And then when I came back to the actual thing, then I didn't have that lack and that resistance and that fear. So same thing with relationships sometimes, right? Like sometimes you have to take a break from certain relationships or certain life paths and things like that. But, it's like, it's all about not avoiding them completely forever. It's just about like revisiting them and coming back to them and with like new earned knowledge and wisdom, if that makes sense. So like even with my spiritual stuff, right? Like I had to go through different phases of my spiritual life. Like I've always been spiritual, but like at first there was no motherfucking way I was sharing that with the world. I was petrified of fear of judgment. And then eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I made a couple of YouTube videos, I think in 2017. And I was like, no one's reacting. No one cares. I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like people are getting it or feeling it, or like I have to explain everything. I have to dumb down my information and my level of knowing. I have to tell people what the law of attraction is from scratch. So I stepped away from it again. And then a couple months later, I came back to it in 2018. I think I'm maybe mixing up the years. Maybe in 2018 I started and then I stopped and then I went back in 2019. And then I shared more. And then it was like a very spiritual year in my career. But it was like always like there was like this like points where it was like, okay, I can't extend myself past this point. Over time, I just grew more and more confident in it. So again, the question is like, where is this blockage coming from? So going back to your riff, I hope that kind of makes sense. I feel like I answered the question. Where does the energetics you feel when something is no longer for you? It's that neutral energy versus the ego-based energy. Hold on, what blockages show up that make you feel like you've outlived the career? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes you just, I talked about this in the first part of this riff, like it's just this like, it's a very neutral, it's not ego, it's not angry. Because you never want to make a decision when you're angry or emotional because you're not operating from a place of alignment. So I hope that was helpful.
So that was a fun little piece and part of one of the riffs inside of Energetic Codes. I was asked the question, I riffed on it, I got deep on all the little nitty gritty stuff. And a lot of times when it comes to energetic and manifestation and making your dreams come true and having your dream life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's being in the perfect shape or, health of your life, or, like finding your soulmate, finding the love of your life, or starting that, the business that you've been so passionate about, or having a relationship with your family or friends or boyfriend, or just like leveling up your life, upscaling your life. A lot of times you don't have to have these massive, massive, massive shifts. A lot of times you're already there. You're almost already there. You just need to clean up little things. And I don't care who the F you are, FYI, there is no time ever inside of our lives where each and every single category of our life is like flourishing. We're just like thriving in every category of life: friendship, family, career, spiritual path, love, health. Like it just doesn't exist, you guys. It doesn't exist when we're thriving in all these fields in our lives. But let me elaborate on that for a second. It does not mean that you cannot be happy in every single category of your life, or that you don't have timelines where everything is going great. Of course we have those moments, but does it stay perfect forever? No, because we are human beings and our sole purpose is to come here, is to learn and to grow. And there's never growth without like challenge. Everything in life always has maintenance. So even if you're in great shape and you have amazing friends and you have a great relationship with your family and you love your job like that, of course that all can exist, right? But there's always going to be places where you're going to wish that you had something, more. Striving for more, like a little bit more money, a little bit more freedom. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you can be happy in all categories, but it's never going to stay like that forever, is what I'm trying to say here. But at the same time, we always have desire to be better, to do better. If you're like a high vibrational being and you actually understand the bigger purpose of life, there is always desire to be better, to do better, to strive for bigger, to always be better. And so even though you can have every single category in your life and you can be happy with it, there are still places where we can grow, where we can achieve more, we can better certain relationships. And relationships can be anything. The relationship that you have with money, the relationship you have with your parents or with your brother or with your spouse or your child, or, relatives or certain friendships, right? Like there's always place for growth. And so there's always going to be things are always moving, things are always changing, people are reacting, friendships change, relationships change, jobs change, everything changes, nothing stays the same. And so the powerful thing about inside of energetic codes is while all these things are changing constantly, things that you didn't predict were going to happen, things that you didn't know were going to happen, you get to have support and mentorship that's guiding you through the entire thing. And then, like I said earlier, a lot of times it's about really cleaning up, not the ginormous things. Sometimes it's about going in super like the nitty gritty tiny things that you just need to clean up. And if you change this like one thing or navigated it or knew how to better navigate it, it would create such massive change in your life and in your sphere and in whatever category and thing that you're going through. And so I can literally talk for like 30 minutes about the energetics, the settled energetics between, overcoming or surpassing this certain timeline, this career, this relationship in your life, right? Like genuinely or also not. There's so many, like it's in the little details. And one thing energetic codes really does is it gets in the nitty gritty, but it also creates such a new level of awareness. And here's the thing. I don't know if I've ever talked about why I called my program Energetic Codes, my 6 months mentorship membership, why I ever called it that. But when I was thinking of the name to actually explain it, to call this type of a mentorship and this type of a program and kind of like the energy field that I was trying to conceive and project inside of energetic codes, the thing about life is that once you were able to tap into something, anything, once you were able to do something once, just once, into a certain power, into a certain knowing, once you are basically able to do something once, you will always be able to do it again. Always and forever. And a lot of times, I see people that are like, oh my God, I'm so stuck. I don't know how to manifest this, or I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to be in a healthy relationship, or I don't know how to, just these little things. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of times that's not actually true. If you were able to do it once on a massive scale or a small scale, if you were able to tap into that power, that knowledge, if you're able to do it once, you could always tap back into it. You could do it again. All you have to do is just download the energetic codes. You already did download the energetic codes. Law of life is just lessons and experiences and tools to put inside of our toolbox. And we just like imagine like a toolbox, right? It's like we have a toolbox and it's empty. And so in the longevity of life, the timeline of your lifetime, you learn new skill sets, right? You learn how to manifest and boom, you have a new tool in the toolbox and you just stick it in the toolbox. Let's call it the hammer. The manifestation is a hammer, right? You stick it inside of your toolbox and once you learn how to navigate like embarrassing, awkward social moments, it's like, boom, another fucking tool into your toolbox. And so anytime you're like going through things in life and you're like, I don't know what to do, but you do. Like it's in the toolbox. You have the tool inside of your toolbox and all you need is a little bit of guidance. But the beautiful thing inside of energetic codes is that I really help mentor you and help you tap into new energetic codes. I help you download new energetic codes from the quantum field that maybe you already had or maybe you didn't know existed. But once you actually had that breakthrough, that epiphany within a certain category of your life, this thing that keeps coming up for you and you're just so frustrated with it, this like annoying loopy thing, once like we've decoded it, now you have the energetic codes, you've just downloaded it from the quantum field, you have the fucking key, you have the tool, and now it's all about just using it, utilizing it into your life to create a change, a difference, whether it's massive, like on a massive scale or on a small scale. But what I've learned through life is that sometimes those tiny little things, they make all the difference in the world. Obviously, the big monumental breakthroughs of life, like are fucking life-changing, life-altering. There are these crazy aha moments. Oh my God, I didn't realize this. How, oh my God, my life, this is so crazy. Those are like these big, wowy, crazy moments. But even in the small, nitty-gritty, small things, There's so much to take away. Those little things can be applied to so many different categories of life. And through that, we create ongoing transformation and we become a better version of ourselves. And the more that we learn and the more that we know, life just gets to become more and more magical, more powerful, more freeing. We just get to live in like this abundant, high vibrational state constantly. And so that is the beauty of what happens inside of Energetic Codes, why Energetic Codes is called that. And if you want to join us, I'm going to leave a link in the show notes and I would love to have you there. We are starting end of January and I think I'm going to keep dropping different riffs. We'll see how this goes and how many more I will drop, but I'm going to drop a couple more. So stay tuned for those. I love you guys and have a great day.